I'm Morgan.
And I'm Jess.
And this is Geometry 101.
And we're going to learn about trigonometry. Trigonometry comes from two Greek terms.
Trigon, meaning triangles.
And metron, meaning measure.
You'll see that this is the measurement of triangles. SohCahToa is used when finding side or angle measurements by using the side or angle measurements within the right triangle. But you have to remember, you can only use right triangles and you can't use the 90-degree angle within the formulas.
Let's break down each section of SohCahToa. The SOH in SohCahToa stands for sine, opposite, hypotenuse. This formula would be sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. For example, if you have a triangle like this one right here, in this triangle it's missing one of the legs. But you have the hypotenuse and you have an angle. This calls for sine. So, your formula would be sine, then the angle measurement, which let's say this angle would be 43 degrees, equals the leg, which we don't have, so that would be x, over the hypotenuse, which let's say 8. When you plug that into your calculator, your answer would be a rounded answer of 5.45.
In CAH, C is cosine, A is adjacent, and H is hypotenuse. The formula for cosine is cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. In a triangle over here, we have that 53 degrees is the angle that we'll be using, and the hypotenuse is 8. When you plug these numbers into the formula and into the calculator, you'll get that the adjacent measurement is 4.8.
In TOA, T stands for tangent, O stands for opposite, and A stands for adjacent. This formula is tan equals opposite over adjacent. For example, in this triangle right here, where it's missing one side, but we have an angle and we have one of the other sides. Let's say this angle is 25 degrees, and the leg that we do have is 36. So, your formula would be tan 25 equals x, because we don't have that, over 36. And when you plug that into your calculator, you get an estimated answer of 16.8.
Once in a while, you have to use the inverse for each of these formulas. This is done when you know the sine, cosine, or tangent of an angle, and you want to know the measurement of it. This is the inverse of the normal formula, and it's done by, say, sine of -1.
For example, if you have a triangle like this one over here, with the hypotenuse and one of the legs given, and you're trying to find the angle opposite of the given leg, your formula would then be sine x, because you don't know the angle, equals opposite leg over hypotenuse. Let's say the opposite leg is 2 and the hypotenuse is 6. So it would be sine x equals 2 over 6. This is when you use sine -1 to get x by itself. So it would be sine -1 of 2 over 6 equals x. When you plug that into your calculator, you get 19.5. Let's use a real life example.
Here, we have a play slide.
When the makers were making this slide, they needed to know, Morgan,
How long the post is, how far up the slide can go, and how long the actual slide can be.
all related to at what angle the slide is reaching out to.
Let's measure.
The post is about 4.5 feet. Slide, about 8 feet. So,
Let's measure this elevation. Looks about 56 degrees.
So let's think here. We have the angle, one of the sides, and the hypotenuse. And we're trying to find the side opposite of the angle.
Sounds like we're going to need the tangent formula.
That's right. So,
When you plug into your calculators, you're going to put tan 56 equals x over 4.5, since that's the short leg, and this is the angle of the slide. When you figure that out, you get that this should equal about 7 feet.
so let me measure. And that's right. It's about 7 feet. That's why when the makers made this slide, it worked out so well. See?
So let's recap what we've learned. You use SohCahToa when you're trying to figure out triangle measurements.
So let's remember.
The sine formula is sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine formula is cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent is tan equals opposite over adjacent. Once in a while, you'll have to use inverse formulas. This is simply done by using the same formulas but putting in a -1. For example, sine of -1 equals opposite over hypotenuse.
Thanks for watching. For Morgan and everyone else here in E106, I'm Jessica, and this is Geometry 101.
See you next time!